All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. William Shakespeare. Welcome back to Sweet Infinity. My name is Kieran, and today I'll be reading from this movie tarot deck by Natalie Foss, illustrator, and written by Diana McMahon Collis. This is a deck I got recently, just because I wanted something a little bit lighthearted. It comes with a guidebook that has photos, colored photos of the different cards and some explanations about it. The cards themselves are pretty decent in terms of the size. Good size for my hands, which tend to be on the small side. I love how the court cards and the major arcana have symbols and characters from different movies that you might recognize. And the numeric cards have symbols with the numbers written on there. So let's shuffle and get started. I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel. I have a lot of other videos on here that you could check out after this one. You could also hit the thumbs up button and let me know if you like this kind of video, and I will sure to make more. I also do readings of decks like the Star Trek TNG deck, Tarot of the Divine, which has stories from around the world. If you are into that kind of stuff, let me know. And I'd love to hear from you. Do you like things like Tarot Oracle? Did you find this video because you are into movies, or because you're into tarot, or because you follow me, in which case thank you and welcome back. So today I want to talk about how we play different roles in our lives and what are some roles that are coming up for us, for you in particular, because you are the one watching this, and at whatever point in life you're watching this, this is going to be relevant for you, I think you'll find. So let's get started. What are the roles that you've been playing? What is the primary role that you have been playing in your life when it comes to your relationship with other people? Five of Swords. You have been the kind of person who rattles things up, who brings up some of the issues that are ongoing, who kind of makes people aware of the problems that are around. And it's kind of a superpower you have. You have tried to make the world better. And that sometimes requires recognizing what's wrong with the world. Now, the Five of Swords is about conflict. It's about confrontation. So you are somebody who is not afraid of those things, or you are attracted to people who are not afraid of those things. So this is another aspect, is that when we're attracted to somebody, often we are projecting onto them the thing about us that we have repressed or that we would like to get in touch with more. So what I'm seeing is that your relationships or your roles have had to do with conflict. So either you have been the one who creates a kind of, not necessarily conflict in a bad way, though it could be, but confrontational situation. And usually that happens by figuring out what's wrong with the situation and focusing on it. Because nobody likes criticism, right? But sometimes it's necessary, but sometimes it can go too far. Or you're somebody who is attracted to that kind of situation. So you tend to find yourself in situations of confrontations, in scenes, let's say, since we're doing the movie tarot, that have a lot of high stakes, a lot of drama going on, okay? How come you find yourself in this role? What's behind all that? Seven of Wands. Ooh, interesting. Seven of Wands is about boundaries. So this is about you wanting to declare boundaries and you wanting to make sure that your boundaries are respected. And I have a feeling that that is something that's a bit of a trigger for you. Maybe somebody didn't respect your boundaries. Who did not respect your boundaries? King of Cups. That's Bill Murray from, I believe, Lost in Translation. I don't remember that movie. I don't know if I've seen it, but the King of Cups. This is usually somebody who is a wise, emotionally generous, usually male figure, a father figure, a grandfather, an uncle, somebody who really was able to hold a lot of emotion, who maybe was a little on the depressive side, somebody who carried a lot of the weight of the family's emotions. Maybe was a little on the quiet side, maybe held his emotions back. But you maybe didn't feel that you had a lot of boundaries from this person. Now let's explore that a little bit more. What happened in this relationship that caused you to take on this role where you have to be the one who is confronting and who is reclaiming boundaries and who is trying to create boundaries, where between things, between what's right and what's wrong, what's acceptable and what's not. Something to do with an emotionally receptive, emotionally engaged male figure who is generally a positive figure, but can also be a little intrusive, let's put it that way. Might be somebody who can be a little clingy, can be somebody who is a little too emotionally dependent on people or you, on somebody who is not able to provide the kind of emotional needs that he has. Is that the role you were in? Queen of Wands. Well, yeah. Queen of Wands is passionate, ambitious, strategic. This is somebody who goes for what they want. It's probably a female, but it doesn't have to be. This could also be somebody who's not a male. These cards are gendered, but the things they stand for are universal. They're not gendered. So Queen of Wands, I'm just seeing this as your parental unit of some kind or some kind of parental type figures. It doesn't have to be your actual parents. Could be teachers, could be grandparents, could be somebody who you grew up around, maybe older siblings. And the Queen of Wands was somebody who pushed you to go further, while at the same time, this character was somebody who was kind of holding you back, kind of holding you down, kind of being a bit of a wet blanket. So maybe you were kind of tossed in between these two figures. This could be a family situation where you had multiple households. You were going back and forth between step parents, things like that, mixed families, as they call it, or blended families. It could be somebody that your mom or dad were partnered with. But what I'm seeing is that there was a lot of confusion, and sometimes you didn't have the ability to form your own boundaries. That's an interesting backstory. So, where did you find yourself during all of this ensuing chaos? Ace of Wands. Interesting. The Ace of Wands is about starting a new journey. Usually something creative or something to do with health, something to do with moving forward. Maybe you got into veganism or some kind of special diet in order to maintain your health or to feel in control of your life in a way that maybe you couldn't. Maybe being shuffled around between different family members, having to cater to the needs of these elders, whether they're parents or other people that you had to look after. You found yourself in the role of being somebody who had to keep it together. And if you couldn't keep it together for the whole world, you had to keep it together for yourself and maintain a level of control over aspects of your life, like your health or starting some kind of new project, starting little businesses or little projects on the side. And that was a way for you to regain control. So that's what I'm seeing. And so we started with the role you've been in has been to be confrontational. And yet you're here in this reading, still watching. Why? Are you sick of this role? King of Wands. So we started with Ace of Wands. That's where you were. And now we're at King of Wands, which is the end of that deck. That's the beginning of this deck. This is the end of that deck. This is the culmination of the Wands deck, whereas this was the beginning. This is the role you found yourself in, where you had to keep exerting control over whatever you could, where even if you started something new, you were basically on your own and you had to define your own boundaries again back here. And now you are here. And the King of Wands, played by Indiana Jones here, he is just giving this leader energy. You are at a point where you are ready to take on a real leadership role. All those things that you started as a young apprentice or young Padawan, now you are at this point where you are at the top of your game and you are ready to accept that role and the responsibility that comes with it. That's what I'm seeing here. That's this character. So all that stuff that happened before, okay, we all have dramas. We all have backstories. Like, who doesn't, right? We all have flashbacks. That's common. Every protagonist has that. Now, you are the protagonist of your story, just like everybody is the protagonist of their story, right? But what I'm seeing is that you are at a point where you are ready to just kind of stop with the BS, Like the King of Wands is the character who's a leader. And there's just nothing else to it. There's no other BS. There's no other question about it. It's not a matter of questioning yourself and self-doubt and imposter syndrome. Man, that's over. There's a time for that. And that's Ace of Wands and not King of Wands, okay? So when we have graduated to the King of Wands, we are now ready to take it on. Whatever it takes. That leap of faith, like Indiana Jones always takes, that's you. How do you step into that role? Maybe you are just realizing that that's the role you want to be in, or that's the role that you are just in, whether you want to or not. That's just where you are right now. But how do you make that change? Maybe you still kind of identify with some of the younger versions of you who had to define their boundaries, who was always confrontational. Because the King of Wands, he's not confrontational just for the sake of being confrontational. He's comfortable in his own skin. He knows his skills. He knows his weaknesses. He knows what he likes, what he doesn't like. He's got things figured out. And he knows where his skills and talents are best used, right? So how do you get into that mode? How do you embrace that part of you, that part of your life, that role that you're stepping into in the next act? Let's discuss that. The Devil. You have seen the Devil, haven't you? You have seen how things can get when you give up control. Devil is about giving up control. So when you see other people in these situations, when they are giving in to addictions, temptations, fantasies, illusions, that's what the devil is. And you are not tempted by the devil. You will still see those things come up. Maybe it's procrastination. Maybe it's perfectionism. That itself can be an addiction. But your journey at this point is to be able to recognize the devil and not give in to the temptations. You can even appreciate it from afar. Be like, wow, that's cool. I used to be into that. Yeah, I've moved on. It's okay to move on to the next stage of your life. And the devil is there, and the devil actually appreciates that. The devil's role in this case is to get you to this point where you are so mature that the devil's tricks don't work on you anymore. The devil's not going to pursue you if you are beyond it. That's the beauty of this. How do you get beyond it? The Emperor. There you go. You are in control. The Emperor is about control. It's about personal control. It's about being able to call the shots in your life. Being the director, not just the protagonist, but the one making the film too. That's the Emperor. He's got his tools. He's got his stuff. He knows where he's at. Wouldn't recommend necessarily following this character in its entirety, but you know what I mean. That this character is so confident. Step into your new role. You already have the skills. Now all these things that built you, they're there. Your backstory is your backstory. It can make you strong. Okay? How do other people see you? I'll tell you how. Page of Swords. The Page of Swords is an action hero who is very thoughtful. An action hero, an active person who takes very seriously everything that they want to do. They don't demean themselves. They don't talk down to themselves. They take their dreams seriously. They take their thoughts seriously. They don't listen to the devil. They don't give in to other people stepping on their dreams. They don't give in to their own backstory. They are confident. They follow their dream. That's what this carrot is. And that is where you are at when it comes to how other people see you. People see you as somebody who has the courage to follow their dreams, and that inspires people. A good actor will tell you that when you're performing, it's so much better to perform next to or across from or against another actor. And the better the other actor, the more they'll pull out of you the best parts of you, the best talent that you have, the best skills that you have. So you being an amazing person and following your dream and being in charge of your life and doing the thing that you want to do, that you started, that you wanted to do all those years ago, but even more in a more developed way, you're leading by example. You are being the example. You're being the change you want to see. That's what this is about. So whatever your backstory is, you have it in you to grab life by the whatevers and move forward and take the role seriously. Step into the character that you are meant to be. The amazing person who calls out the BS, doesn't fall for things, okay, and is not afraid of taking life head on. You can do that. It doesn't mean picking fights. It means being real with yourself and with others, okay? Defining your boundaries, making sure that you know when you need to take a break, when you need to step back, when you need to say no. That's very important in life. And I think you didn't have that maybe as a young person. You know, you were kind of tossed around like a tennis ball back and forth. Okay, you can process that. If you can get some therapy, do some journaling, that's important. But you are your own person now, and you are allowed to be your own person now. That's the role you're getting into. You will see more temptations along the way. We all do. And that's okay. You can even appreciate them from afar, but don't step into it, and you won't. I trust that you won't, because you know your stuff. You're in control. And you're going to be an example and an inspiration for others. I hope that this was useful and fun. If you are interested in purchasing this deck, I'm going to leave some links for you in the description below. If you're interested in one-on-one readings, I am also doing those. You can leave me a comment or you can message me. The information is in the channel's description. And if you'd like to support me, there's Patreon and other ways you can support me. I'd appreciate that. Please remember to do a thumbs up, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and have a sweet infinity.